Cocoa prices have come off record highs, but the market is still far from normal. To break down what's driving the recent correction, how supply and demand are starting to rebalance, and what the outlook looks from here, I'm joined by Lucca Bezzon, market intelligence analyst at StoneX and one of the authors of the latest StoneX Market Intelligence quarterly report. Welcome, Lucca. Great to have you with us.
Hello, thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here again.
Of course. In your report, you stress that the market remains structurally tight, even though cocoa prices have fallen sharply. How should investors interpret this recent correction?
Yeah, indeed, cocoa prices have diminished by at least 50% during 2025. But it is also very good to remember that prices have been corrected from extreme levels, not from normal ones. So, in that sense, cocoa remains historically expensive on the levels that they are today. Prices used to orbit around $2,000 to $3,000 and are now around five, a bit lower than five. But they came down from $12,000 at the end of 2024. The drop in prices, in turn, it is closely correlated to two important fundamentals that have become increasingly clear to everyone in the last few months, especially in the last few weeks, actually. The first one is the evident drop in cocoa demand, especially coming from industrial signals, with a drop in cocoa processing activity worldwide. The contraction of margins for these processors have dampened cocoa bean demand and pressured prices. That in turn is a reflex of the diminishing of cocoa subproducts. When I say subproducts, it's the ones that are used in the confectionery industry, mostly cocoa butter and cocoa powder,
Hmm.
um, that are being mainly substituted or diminished by other types of oils and vegetable oils, especially. So that's the first factor. The second factor is that production will most likely be able to recompose partially the diminishing of global stocks that happened during 2024. So global stocks that are still pretty low, which is a big factor that why prices are historically high still. They're probably going to be recomposed during the next few harvests. So that's the second big factor that we're looking at. So despite the probable stocks recovery, um, we still have some risk premiums that keep prices historically high. So in conclusion, just to summarize, the market is transitioning from a crisis pricing to a normalization pricing.
I see. Now, you also mentioned that West Africa remains central to the outlook. What are the key signals you're watching in the 2025-26 crop, and why should the market stay cautious despite improved deliveries?
Perfect. The current harvest in West Africa, which is the biggest producing country by far, is a harvest of recovery as well. So back then in 2024, what really increased prices was diminishing production in West Africa, which is an structural one, but was mainly caused by weather related factors. So for example, Ivory Coast, which produced around 2.2 million tons of cocoa in the 22-23 season, came to around 1.7 in the 23-24, and the same for the 24-25. So we've had a dampening in production of around 400,000 tons, which is really expressive when we consider the cocoa sector. In
Hmm.
25-26, we expect a slight recovery to around 1.85 million tons,
Hmm.
which is a recovery, but it's not the same levels that we used to see.
Okay.
The same for Ghana. Ghana is an even more expressive example. They used to produce around 1.11 million tons, and they reached around 450 in the 23-24 harvest. So even though we're expecting a recovery on the current harvest of around 650 thousand tons. These are factors that keep weighing in on prices. So despite the expected surpluses that we see on the global cocoa balancing on the next harvest, we still have this risk premiums that will keep pressuring prices.
And we're also actually seeing more influence from secondary producers, such as Ecuador, which you highlight in your report. How important is that for the overall cocoa market?
Definitely. On that matter, the biggest highlight is, as you've mentioned, the growth story of Ecuador. They have produced around 570,000 tons last season, which is very close to what the second producing country, Ghana, produced in the last season. So uh, they didn't produce not even close to that 5 to 6 years ago.
Right.
So it's a very inspiring story and one that probably other secondary countries will most likely follow on the next few harvests. Of
Hmm.
course, they are a bit. It's gonna take a bit of time for them to reach this level, since cocoa trees they need at least 3 years to develop.
Oh, okay.
So we keep on looking at these secondary producers, most likely Indonesia, Nigeria, which is close to the West African countries, Brazil, Cameroon, Peru is also another one that will most likely have an improving production as well.
And Luca, looking ahead, what indicators will be most critical in shaping cocoa market sentiments as we continue 2026?
Great. Considering the most important indicators, the ones that we're looking at most, and I think that every person that is involved in the cocoa sector should keep on looking because it really is impacting prices. Is one, the weekly port arrivals of cocoa in Ivory Coast. So there is a weekly notice of deliveries from Ivory Coast, which is the biggest producing country, and the quarterly global grindings data, which is the biggest indicator that we have on demand. And both of those indicators are really well covered on our market intelligence reports.
Mhm.
We put them on the reports every time they are released, as well as our estimates, which we update quarterly as well for global production, for demand, and for global cocoa balance and stocks. So that's a sort of data that the whole market is used to seeing as well as a benchmark. So both external indicators and StoneX produced indicators are one thing that I would advise for cocoa sector participants to take a look at.
That's great. Thank you so much, Luca, for all of your insights. And thank you to our viewers for watching. For deeper insights and analysis, scan the QR code or click the link in the description to download StoneX's Market Intelligence Quarterly Report.